Hi guys, in today's video we are going to see is our Raspberry Pi 3 Model B or the B Plus still worth in 2020, and this video is just my opinion about it, and in my opinion I say this is really worth. And currently I'm using the Raspberry Pi 3 Model B Plus version, not the B Plus, because it has a better Wi-Fi chip, because it has the dual band Wi-Fi. Dual band supports both 2.4 gigawatts and 5 gigawatts. I have a 5 gigawatt Wi-Fi, so it just works with it perfectly fine. I used the old version, which is the Model B version, and it had Wi-Fi, and the 2.4 gigawatts didn't work for me. That wow, it just stopped connecting and keeps on refusing to work fast, I guess. And this works exactly how I want. And for a quick fact, this has the same Wi-Fi chip as our Raspberry Pi 4. Raspberry Pi 4 also has dual band Wi-Fi, and this has a dual band Wi-Fi as well. And just let's go. Let's have a quick tour about the Raspberry Pi. It has four USB traditional ports or Ethernet port, a dedicated headphone jack or the display outlet if you were using the old CRTVs, and a full traditional HDMI's, uh, micro USB cable for the power supply, 40 GPIO pins, and you can see these two are really good ports as well for a single board computer. One is display. If you have an external display, you can just connect it through a ribbon cable, and to this it's just gonna work fine. And the other one is the camera. And in the Raspberry Pi website and other stores as well, they sell the Raspberry Pi camera. You can just buy one and just connect it to this and just run some code in the terminal, and it's just gonna work as a home security device. And that's really good with the small guy. And if you're really into Linux, you can go with this. And always don't use the Raspbian. I always switch between many OS, like the Flint OS, which is just the Chromebook. uh, I use Raspbian, and I go Ubuntu. Now actually I have Ubuntu in it. I just use RetroPie or the Laka for gaming sometimes. And there are some problems with the Raspberry Pi as well. And the first problem is the SD card. You can see the whole device, this one, have to run by using this small thing. And this, like me, if you're using a class 10 card, it's too slow at the full, it's too slow and not as good as a full-fledged hard drive. As our Raspberry Pi website and the foundations too allows us to use uh, an external hard drive and boot our Raspberry Pi by using a USB port, but it just takes one of the USB port off from you. And actually I used all of the ports when I'm using the Raspberry Pi. So it, if I want to power this up by an external hard drive, it's just gonna take one of the USB ports, and I have to use something else or buy a hub separately. So I always use the small SD card, and actually it works for me. The other issue is this guy gets hot, and if I tried using this for more than 1 hour and it just got really hot, so I started using the heatsink. This one, I applied to two heatsinks, and you can just get this heatsink for £2 on Amazon. And if you want, you could put three heatsinks, one at the back and two here. Why am I not using three of them? Because the case I use doesn't support three heatsinks, does support two. So I just applied two heatsinks. It does work with by using the two heatsinks. And except that, I face no problem with the Raspberry Pi. And as this Raspberry Pi 3 Model B has a full-fledged traditional HDMI ports, as my monitor, all the new kind of monitors too has the traditional HDMI, it's just you're going to connect it to it easily. Rather, our Raspberry Pi 4 has their micro USB, so you need to buy an adapter for it and connect it, and that's a big mess. You have to buy two different kind of adapter and connect it to one device and have two monitors. I guess it's just going to make some lag. And in that case, this is really good. And as I use some VGA monitor, I just already connected to an adapter to connect to this. So if I buy a Raspberry Pi 4, it's just not going to work for me. And as this guy has 1 GB RAM, just don't worry, it just has 1 GB RAM, but it just runs really smooth and lag free. And the thing is, uh, their website or their documentary about the Raspberry Pi 3, they said this can run really good, and they said you can even overclock this. I overclocked this, and you can even make it do many stuff. And the 1 GB is not even a big deal. It just runs smooth and lag free. And if you want, you can just go to a better one, better spec wise, the Raspberry Pi 4, which has a 4 GB RAM version, or you can just buy the 2 GB RAM version. But I just prefer this one because it has the traditional HDMI and all the stuff I need. It just works for me. And there is already out, there is different kind of OS for this out, so you can just, by using a Win32 disk imager or etcher, you can just flash OS to the SD card, pop it in, just turn on. It's just gonna work perfectly fine. There is no problem with it. And if you want a better spec wise, I say go with the Raspberry Pi 4 or the Asus Tinkerbird. Asus Tinkerbird is really good as well. There is different kinds of OS in the website. I will leave a link in the description to both the Raspberry Pi's website and the Asus Tinkerbird's website, so you can have a look if you want to buy something. And if you want to buy a cheap desktop or a single board computer, I say go with the Raspberry Pi 3 because it has everything you need. So I guess that's it for today's videos. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, share and subscribe my channel, and don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified when I upload a new video. Bye.